Give me a moment. Alright, there we go. What's going on, everyone? Goddrifter here, and welcome back to another live stream. This is live stream number 95, and my controller is still, my stick drift still bugs me to this day. Alright. So basically today's theme is figuratively and literally cars from the 2000s. So literally that including I see that figuratively and literally means that model productions has to be from, like, it doesn't even matter if it's from the 1990s. If the car made it to the 2000s, then it will make plenty amount of sense. But then again, I'm just odd like that. So figuratively and literally, cars are from the 2000s usually had to be in this live stream. So literally, I kind of figure out what cars made it to the 2000s and also was made in the 2000s. So yeah, long story short, a lot of cars are not gonna be used for this one. So in terms of the garage, again, I have every single car. The class one is already out because class one consists of cars from the 80s and early 90s and a car from 2015. And that's also another thing. This is also another rule. I will not be using cars from the 2010s since that is basically a new decade. Versus, oh yeah, like, okay, what about 1990s thing? It's like, well, if the car mid to 2000s, I will count that. But if the car was originally made around either 90s to literally or any sort of 2000 and sort of 2010s, that would mean that basically, long story short, they're basically out. So yeah, class 2, it's again, I actually looked up the years of these cars. So Eclipse is out, the E36 is out, 240SX is out, Charger is out, Fox Body is out, Volvo is definitely out. The IS200 came from the 2000s, so it stays. I don't know what year this car is. R33, it won't count since that car came from the mid 90s. Imperial, unfortunately, it's not gonna cut it. The L'Oreal, it does have a 2000s model, but this is the 90s, the early 80s, early 90s model. RX-8 does count. E46, Solstice, G35, 350Z, GDB WRX, Toyota Chaser. I will count that as a 2000s car since that car did make it to the 2000s. Unfortunately, 2001 it actually discontinued. The Royal will also count. The Evo definitely counts. R34, the models, let's see it. Basically, if the car came out in 1999, is the fact that figuratively and literally, it was only for 2001, and then for the Z-Tune, I think 2002 for the GCR and 2005 for the Z-Tune. So the Mark 2 doesn't count, MR2 doesn't count. S14, which I looked up both 240SXs, will not count as well. RX-7 definitely counts since there's a 2002 model of said vehicle. During ZX won't count. Pontiac Firebird definitely doesn't count. M2 doesn't count since that's basically a new decade. All three of these mofos don't count. RCF doesn't count. The Judge doesn't count. I see, not Judge. The Chevy SS doesn't count. Mark II BRZ doesn't count. Magnum, not Magnum. Challenger, I will count since the original, for example, the original car came around at least 2008. Um, R32 doesn't count. Porsche 911 doesn't count since that one's a 933, 964, 930S type car. Um, the UDM3, that one is, I would count that as a 2000s car since that specific model came out in 2007. So there's that. The Stink Eye definitely counts. Bandit doesn't count. Warden Eva X does count. The Spark ZR counts. R34, I would say the same thing with the coupe model. The Ford model also came out in the 2000s, but ended production in 2001. The Kitsune is a special case since there's two variants of that model, and it's all tied into this specific car. Um, this one, on the other hand, I will count that as a 2000s car. 38 doesn't count, that's a 2010s car. Um, or basically the BMW i8. Dodge Viper, that definitely counts. S15 counts. Um, Corolla ZR doesn't count. Um, let's see, that's basically a Corolla. Um, Mark II, it actually counts. Doesn't count, doesn't count. I wish I can say the Supra counts, but unfortunately, due to the fact the car came out in '93, for us it ended in around 1998, and then for others it's like actually no, it ended production around 1998. So, and even though yeah the production came around 2001, unfortunately I did the model years doesn't save this car from not being driven. So yeah. Doesn't count, doesn't count. Yeah, okay, yeah. Here's gonna be the shocking part. The GTR counts. Yeah, GTR counts because the original Nissan GTR came around in 1990s. Came around 2007. Same with the 370Z, which came around 2008 as a concept model, and then it came around 2009. R8 also counts since that car came out in 2007. Um, 2010s, 60s, 2010s, uh, this week, 2010s, definitely 2020s. That's also 2000s car, the M5, that actually will count. Which could seem like the Supra, the Space Knight was meant to come out in 2006. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough money, and it didn't end up. It didn't come out until 2012, which that's a missed opportunity. Um, let's see. This I don't know the year of. 60s, 2000s, that's not 2000s, 2010s, and 2010s. All right, so I guess that's everything. Without further ado, let's start drifting. All right. All right. So, as always, I'll be going to. Actually, this is gonna be the first time I ever drifted this track. 9 p.m. Jesus, dude. Morning foggy, noon cloudy. I think noon cloudy would have worked pretty well. I don't know about evening being around 9 o'clock. Like, what the heck? Okay. know, it's weird that no one actually uses this track, like, ever. I think the only time people would actually use this track is for figuratively and literally track days. The weird part is I ain't never been to this part of the track. The only time I've been out in to the track that's not in the right course is literally Springstone, and that's about it. But man, not gonna lie, this track is basically underrated because for many people that didn't know about this track, this is a full-on high-speed type of track that. Um, Although it has some grassroots stuff into it, is the fact that Fictavian literally, the track here literally kind of makes no sense whatsoever. But again, that's just me. Okay, this is actually very interesting. Interesting track to get used to. Oh, and before I even do anything else, let me change something to do with the obviously so there we go. All right. So with that, I actually forgot to turn the chat on. Alright, time for me to change, gonna change the track. Nope, that's not it. There you go, map. And we are going to go into freaking Springstone. And we're going to go by the by default. Normally, okay, yeah, with default, I think everything's brighter, but due to the fact that, figuratively and everything is like, oh yeah, you can change the tone, the different time of the day, and it's like, okay, let's see what default is. And default is usually like, well, this. The morning is a good question. Wait, no, actually, hold on. Shading change. So yeah, there's morning and then there's evening. I'm curious what the evening actually looks like. Oh! Okay, that's interesting. My question is, why in the world does it look like? Looks like it's from the afternoon. My goodness. Sorry about that. Oh my god. Oh snap. Oh jeez. Oh my god. Hmm. Alright, I'm actually going to switch different vehicles now. Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and choose the next vehicle, which is the Lynx. The Lynx came around in 2002, if I remember correctly, and unfortunately, it discontinued around the 2010s. I think around 2012, it actually legit got discontinued. All right, time for some Red Rock, and I'm wondering how many people gonna be going there, because for some reason, one way or another, it's just every time I go to Red Ring, a lot of people end up going there. It's like, Jesus Christ, my God, like you didn't even bother giving me any other place a chance. Like, God dang. Ay, ay, ay. Hmm. Alright, since there's no activity in the chat, I'm actually going to turn the chat box off. There we go. Actually, then again, I'm probably gonna need that chat box so I can actually see how much time we're at so far. Oh, so okay. So normally when it comes to my live streams, um, I usually have three things to talk about. Normally it will have been racing cliches, then vehicle history, and then the in a nutshell. But this is going to be a very interesting topic that many people wouldn't. This is the thing that I wouldn't mind talking about. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to have a live stream going on. then again, I never even talked about this sort of music cliche that I have not seen for quite some time actually. Don't worry, I know what I'm going to talk about for today. In terms of vehicle history, so yeah, vehicle history. This is going to be a very interesting thing I like to talk about due to the fact that um, some things are just left to mystery. Now here's the thing. I apologize for not streaming Thursday. Uh, the reason why I didn't stream Thursday because effectively and literally, I was still wondering what game I should stream, and by the time I'm like, oh yeah, I know I should stream this game, and then I looked at like I saw it, and I'm like, Jesus, it's already nighttime. I probably gotta have that mess like tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Probably will stream like tomorrow and a stream GT7. And then while it's streaming, and then I stream needs to be heat, and then Saturday game, GT7 was streamed. Sunday I didn't stream at all because I just need some relaxed time for me. So so yeah, literally around July, I will start the road to 100 million credits. And the reason why I want to do this in the first place is because, well, long story short, actually I have not done a full-on series in a while, so I mean, there's RPG months, that's one thing for sure, but in terms of road to 100 million credits, I need all the days I can get, so most likely this is the rules that I came up with in terms of doing the road to 100 to 100,000, not 100,000, 100 million credits. Essentially, one, I cannot buy credits from PlayStation Store, which the thing is, it's easy to actually get a million credits just by buying it for God knows how much, but it's basically a thing where you have to earn. Now, in terms of gaining credits, long story short, Um, well, long story short, um, like the only time I was, no, only time, um, basically for a week, I had to literally add a lot of the credits that I had to go through without any problems. Essentially, the only time I ever, the next rule is the fact that the only time I ever spend money is for maintenance. So that will include changing engine oil, overhauling the engine, and even um, or even straighten the body back up, which is interesting entirely. Alright. On to the next car. Okay, so we should be okay. Alright. Alright, E36 M3. Probably the most, well, why not say the most, not most influential, but it's probably the most influential M3s to ever come out to this day. Alright, so in terms of my lobbies, usually how this works is, okay, we're going back to Springstone. It's any tire traction, drifting's on, time attack's off, clearing points, collisions, voting is on, line mode's off, shading, I'm going to put it by morning and around 7 a.m. Cross-platform multiplayer is on, and password is off. Okay, we should be okay right now. Oh, I know. Let me just um all right. Oh snap. All right, 30 minutes. All right. So, music in racing games are normally prioritized throughout the years of being the thing that sets the mood. Uh, like for example, with Twisted Metal, usually hear death metal or rock. When in terms of any sort of needs to be game that is based off of certain cities, with needs to be underground, it's a whole lot of rap, a little bit of rock, a little bit of pop in there and there. Other number two, it's hip hop and yeah, hip hop. Let's see, underground two is hip hop, techno, electronic, and basically stuff you will hear from the Fast and Furious movies. With Most Wanted and Carbon is based as always. Most Wanted is rap, rock, a bit of let's see, hip hop, rock, rap, pop, and so on and so forth. With other with Carbon, depending on which car you choose. With Tuners is electronic, with Muscle is rock, with um, with Exotics is hip hop slash rap. basically kind of like that. Pro Street, it was definitely a whole lot of rock in that specific game. Long story short, the only time I hear something that's not rock was the Toxic Avenger. Um, yeah, basically Toxic Avenger. The remix of a song called "Wanna Be Her." So there's that. But I think it's not just Need for Speed that actually has a lot of games that have different song moods. There's also the Midnight Club games that actually revolutionized the music that a lot of us will listen to when we're driving around in town. With Underground, when it's the first Midnight Club game, it is just full-on techno and electronic. Was Midnight Club 2 is added a little bit of rap, rock, drum and bass, and yeah, drum and bass and electronica. With Midnight Club, due to the fact that it has a whole bunch of songs, we got songs from rock, rap, techno, drum and bass, even some good old reggae. Yeah, reggae. You know, the thing that people listen to when they're freakishly high. Forget that. Ignore that. Anyways, so yeah, in terms of how things would go around these days, it'll probably be one of those cases where the moment they gotten, they don't actually have a thing to go for in terms of these specific games. Depending on the years, they'll go for either old. If they, keep in mind, this also depends on the year, of course. Um, like, for example, the 1990s was full of techno and rap and not too much rock, but just songs from Bon Jovi. There's also stuff from Disturbed, Linkin Park, not Linkin Park. I know there's some Linkin Park, but they won't be around to like literally 2000s. Same with Daft Punk. Jesus. Oh my goodness. My goodness. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So for the most part, and not to mention, there's only like Ron. Now, in terms of how many songs are in the game, you probably uh, there's always like the one person that will like, why don't those add like a Spotify thing so that way you can actually listen to music, listen to your own music while you're driving. It's like, okay, yeah, that's easily, yeah, that's probably the biggest fix of them all, since like not everyone likes listening to the same soundtrack over and over and over and over again. So for the most part, it is possibly one of those cases where the moment you actually got hooked on one song, you just figure out like who sang it, and it's like, okay, that's might make a lot more sense. But now with music stations like Pandora, Spotify, Apple Music, like there are many, and I mean many, voice actors listening music that is not from the game specifically, and not to mention it also avoids any sort of copyright that's going on. This fact, well, quite obviously. Um, Yes, because literally when it comes to Spotify and you have like a copyright-free music playlist, then it made a lot more sense. But unfortunately, unless developers are like, okay, we need the music label so we can actually get get the other songs into the game. Yeah, that probably make a lot more sense. But yeah, long story short, always there are always people that actually is willing to actually um, that not only to look at the bigger picture where it's like, okay, we can't just have random music in our game because what if we get caught and it sued us for copyright infringement? It's like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. But then it's like, okay, what if we asked permission from the person that made the song he can actually use? That would make plenty amount of sense. But unfortunately, the fact that for some people it's just too difficult for some odd reason, it's usually things like that um, there's like literally reasons that in terms of like um, going for racing games like this for some reason. Now, in terms of the other other games such as Burnout, which keep in mind when it comes to the Burnout games, they are full, and I mean full of rock songs. In terms of the modern ESP games, due to the fact that um, let's see, we have a couple of rock songs in the latest ESP games, except for Heat. Heat is like literally the only game I know that's not that is not cartoon based. That actually has a whole lot of that doesn't have any rock songs like period. Like we're talking, we have songs from rock, not rock. We got songs from rap, hip hop, reggaeton, and even drum and bass, which was one of my favorite songs is in ESP is Ocho Lugia by Monkey Business. So yeah, and not to mention it has that 80s vibe going on with that song. And basically, if you have like an 80s car and you listen to that in ESP, you're basically good. But before then, it was like a glitch where for some reason, like you change every song and then all of a sudden you hear like a hitting of drums for some reason, and it's like, oh, this song seems honestly familiar. Oh my god. Wait, isn't that the same guy that was in the San Palezzo? Oh no, it's a different person. S13 is a different thing entirely. But it's not. Wait a minute, that's not S13. That's an R32. Oh my god, it's an R32. Well then. god. Okay, and I'm sorry, did you just get lagged out? Sometimes that you lagged out. Oh, great. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So now there are good, there are basically, and there are some good ways to actually have music in your indie games, but there are some bad ways that you have music in the game. Um, and here's a really good fun fact about Midnight Club Los Angeles. Uh, they're going to have more songs than Midnight Club 3, which, keep in mind, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition had on 76 songs. The remix variant just adds. Yeah, the remix variant actually added literally 24. So, well, sorry, no, not 24. Basically, they have 75 songs, and then they added 24 more songs. Long story short, 99 songs in one game. So, basically, and not to mention, there was so much that they actually added more than a couple of categories. But when it comes to the other, when it comes to like the other songs, I'm pretty sure they're like, okay, that totally makes sense. But then, many people didn't realize the fact that, I am not kidding when I say this, is that Midnight Club Los Angeles had more cut songs than, in fact, they have more cut songs than a lot of games have concept art. I am not joking when I say this. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, how many songs did they cut? Oh my god, but yeah, not gonna lie, it was probably the most interesting thing I've seen in any sort of thing, period. Like, if we're talking we're talking music-wise, I had not seen a game that had more than 99 songs. Unless you count, and I want to say you count the Forza franchise, but no, I won't count that because Age or not, Gran Turismo has more songs. Oh my god. Alright, now um, in terms of pros actually added songs to the game, um, basically it is it is free promotion um, for the players actually want to know about their songs and how good the song is. The downside of actually adding set um, songs to the games is the fact that effectively and literally it's one of those cases where you have to be careful on what songs you have to add because because you plan on having an M-rated racing game that has a lot of cursing, a lot of swearing, along with a whole bunch of violence. I'm pretty sure you gotta go look at the explicit variant of said song. But then again, it could be like GTA, where it's like, oh yeah, they have like the censored versions of the song, even though the game is rated M for mature, guys. Like, come on now. Ay, ay. But yeah, other than that, well, yeah, in terms of like other things such as having a um like I don't know game it is, but due to the fact that unfortunately due to the fact that players actually have like music playing while they live stream, um and this is usually a Twitch thing. I don't know if it's just YouTube, but they're like, okay, we have like If players listening to songs uh, that are copyright free, we should be good. It's like, okay, that totally makes sense. But other times it's like, okay, there's songs from other games, unless it's from the same franchise and we're good. But other than that, it makes plenty of sense. And you're probably wondering, okay, why the heck am I drifting on Solstice? Well, long story short, this is actually today's theme. We're going with cars that are made from the 2000s and ended in the 2000s. So that also included model the year, excuse me, model year of cars. So that will include and again, like this also includes literally 2000s all the way to 2009. And you'd probably be surprised at how many cars are that came around 2009. I think it came around 2009. Literally around the 2000s, because they're freaking god, there are so many. My god. My goodness. Alright, going to switch cars now. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Let's see what's up next. That doesn't count, so that's 2011. There we go. Alright. I got something like G85. Alright, so more than likely, I air with the live stream. No, what's I say? Oh yeah. For the most part, it won't be a racing. No racing. It won't be it won't be a game in a nutshell. This is gonna be a full on. I'm gonna do something that's really interesting. This is called the car show talk. So basically, it is kind of like racing game in a nutshell, except like racing game, child game in a nutshell. But the difference being is that car show talk will be something that I actually like to talk about, which is normally show cars that a lot of people are usually like the newest thing that's going to be happening if possible, and going through the history behind said product, doing the fact that it's there just because. Um, my god. Alright, give me a moment. We'll actually put up on the name of the room so that way people can actually join in without any problems. Okay, let's see here. And I'm gonna pin that. There we go. Alright, there you go. That is basically the name of the lobby if you guys wanted to join in. Yo, hey, welcome to the live stream. My god, what the, oh my goodness. Alright, I'm going to be switching cars again. I'm going through as many 2000s cars as much as possible. Alright. Raven, I don't count that since that's the 2000s car. That's a car, like 2010s car, so there's that. Now this Subi on the other hand, I do count that as a 2000s car. Due to the fact that it has, I kid you not when I say this, 3 facelifts. 955 grand, okay. So there shouldn't be any issues, okay. I'm gonna draw my dude. Can you speak to backside? What the? Really? Hold on. Testing, testing. 2 3 1 2 3. Testing, testing. 1 2 3 1 2 3. No iPhone can. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Hello, hello. What the heck? Oh, for the love of. Oh. Okay. Testing, testing. 1 2 3 1 2 3. Testing, testing. Okay. We're good? We're good. Alright, hey, with the live stream. Like I was just talking and I was like, wait, what do you mean like not talking back? Like, wait a minute. This is weird. And then all of a sudden I'm like, what the heck's going on? Like, oh, great. This is probably a sign I need a new headset. Oh my god. Now, for those wondering why I just talked about when you guys joined in, talked about some music. That's basically what it is. Music and racing games. So there's that. And for those wondering what today's theme is, today's theme's 2000s cars. So cars are like around. How's it going? Doing well. I was gonna say, oh yeah. So basically, long story short, it is a basically cars that were made in the 2000s as well as in production around the 2000s would suffice, but it also involves car models as well. So that would include things such as this Subaru, for example, or earlier the IS300, the RX-8, and the E46 and G35, as well as the Solstice. But yeah, other than that, I do. So yeah, something's wrong with my headset. Because I didn't realize that I wasn't even. See, I was speaking, but apparently I got cut off for some reason. I don't know. Alright, so it turns out today's vehicle history. It is one of those cars where. Let's see, yeah, not long story short, it's gonna be one of those cars where you don't expect to actually have a good following, but it actually does have a following for some unknown reason. But either way, it's one of those cars that you look at it and it's like, man, it's too expensive. But then a couple years later, it's like, how in the world is it not more? How in the world is it not expensive anymore? Well, because of depreciation. And we're going to look at the car that is the king of depreciations, Aston Martin. Well, specifically the DB series. So today's vehicle history, I'm going to look around the 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, even the 1990s, and as well as 2000s, 2010s, and now 2020s. But we're not going to talk about the DB series. We're going to be talking about the Vantage models. So yeah, this is the vehicle history on the Vantage. So if we got to begin with the Aston Martin Vantage, we got to take a look at the 1970s. The 70s was a time where disco was the thing, and people are stuffing their nose with God knows what that white powder was. But what we do know is the fact that, figuratively and literally, the V8 Vantage was one of those cars where you actually had to look at it and not mistaking it for a Ford Mustang. Yes, it's one of those cars where people can easily, and I mean easily, mistake the car for a Ford Mustang. But if it has a winged badge and it says Aston Martin, it says Aston Martin. Don't question it. Anyway, so in terms of the Aston Martin, normally the Aston Martins usually came with a V8 Vantage, and that's usually the only time they ever get a Vantage. It's basically it has a V8 model. These cars usually came with either a coupe or a convertible, and was I wondering? Yes, this is the same exact Aston Martin that came in a 007 movie. Yes, Aston Martin was definitely sponsoring James Bond around that time. But yeah, then the 80s came, it didn't do so well. The 90s came, it was just, I don't know what's going on around the 1990s. The 2000s, on the other hand, is where they finally strike back with the Vantage. Unfortunately, they had the V6 Vantage, which many people didn't buy. Yeah, people didn't buy the V6 Vantage. They have brought in the V8 Vantage, with still a lot more because of how reliable it was. But many people forgot about something else. There's a thing called a V12 Vantage, and that usually came with a 5.2 liter V12, which usually is a lot more powerful than the V8, which, keep in mind, that's basically a 4 liter V8. My goodness, Aston Martin, why in the world do you have the same engines as freaking Fords? Keep in mind. more or less, the Aston Martin Advantages usually is like the entry level of Aston Martins, which that will include anything that is under the level of the DB models, and even the 177 for that matter. And the 177 is usually a one-off thing, but that is a story for another time. Anyways, so there is also another variant called the V12 Vantage S, which is by far the ultimate Aston Martin Vantage. And it actually has gotten a lot more interesting than that. The fact that it has a V12, but it is bored and stroked to at least make around 600 horsepower. Now, a bit of context. A supercharged I'm not joking when I say this. A supercharged Jaguar F-Type around that time made around 570 horsepower. Which, for most people, it may not sound much. But, many people didn't realize that the moment they actually make that much horsepower, they're basically up against Ferraris, Mercedes-Benzes, Bentleys, even the likes of, well, I'm not trying to say Lamborghini, because Lamborghini at the time was still making Murciélagos and Gallardos, and I think that's basically about it. But yeah, those cars, those Grand Tour cars, were freakishly insane. In fact, they had to actually face the likes of BMW, the king of the motorsport around that time. And not to mention, it was the king of really pretty much a failure of a V10 that actually came around that time. Sounds good, but it's unreliable. Now, in terms of the newer Advantages these days, around that time, it was a concept car known as the DB10, and it just became the new Vantage. Yeah, of all things, the new DB10 just became the new Vantage. And when I first saw it, I was like, okay, the front doesn't look that bad. The rear, on the other hand, just confuses me because it reminded me too much of a Porsche 911, when with literally the entire taillight is all in one package. But that wasn't the case because obviously, due to the design, I'm like, okay, that at least it makes sense. Now, would it be a V12 Vantage? We may never know, since Aston Martin's, since due to the fact that usually these cars come in automatic and manual, and then the newest one is actually the last model that came with a manual. There's automatics from there, so there's that, and that's basically about it. And now I just realized that there was only I just realized that that was too short of a vehicle history. Let's talk about another vehicle. I had things on the top of my head. I got it. Alright, I might as well talk about something that I've never talked about before. It's a Mitsubishi. Yes. Is it an Evo? No. Is it an Eclipse? Nah. Is it a Mirage? Close, but no. We're talking the first Evo. We're talking Evo 0. Like, we're talking literally the granddad of the Evos. Basically, the Mitsubishi Galant. So, yeah. Mitsubishi Galant came around in 1978, and it was a mid-size four-door. Let's see, yeah, it's basically a mid-size four-door sedan which came around around the 1970s, and then around the 1980s it actually entered in Grand Prix, and it did pretty well until Group B decides to actually not Group B, it was actually competing in Group A. Unfortunately for Group A, the courses were getting a bit more tighter than the average car. So yeah, long story short, long story short, they had the rally parts from the Galant all the way to the Evo. Um, and not to mention the Galant is probably one of those cars where you didn't expect the car to have a cult following, but actually did. And due to the fact that people preferred the boxy model and the 90s model, which that one is actually the most aggressive looking Galant that I ever seen in any racing game or real life, apparently. But no worry, it's usually one of those cases where you end up getting, knowing what the car is capable of. So yeah, there is that for the most part. Now in terms of the Gallants, they usually have a couple of trim packages. They got the GS, the RS, but then you got things like the VR4, and it was actually one of those cases, and one of the very rare cases, where the Gallant has gotten the AMG treatment. Yeah, the first ever Evo Zero got the AMG treatment, and this was before this was before AMG was working with Mercedes of all things. And yeah, the Gallant was pretty on par with the likes of cars like a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, a Porsche, a full-on Bentley of all things. But many things will come to an end around the 1980s. 1990s is when it has a redesign, a facelift, and it has watched one too many wrestling matches to the point where has that permanent scowl look on the car, and it looked aggressive as heck. You probably would have recognized this variant of the Gallant from the show Pit My Ride. And no, I am not joking when I say this. That is the legit Gallant that I'm talking about that I actually liked. Well, unless I can actually find it for no less than a couple of grand, but again, who knows? It might be a little bit different for most people. Anyways, basically, long story short, the Gallant actually has the same thing as the Evos. Basically a 4G63T, well, just 4G63 since that one's naturally aspirated versus having a turbo 4G63T usually would have made a lot more. It wouldn't make any sense at all. The fact is, actually, it was gone from a mid-size to a full-size sedan, and the power of the car is practically was what we call Jiren levels, Jiren levels of power. But yeah, other than that, it actually was on par with the on par with other vehicles such as vehicles such as the Infiniti Q45s, the Lexus GS300s, Acura TLs, and many more. Now, the final variant of the Gallant came around the 2000s, and unfortunately, it has gotten the third gen Eclipse treatment. And by that I mean it's a little bit too big to be called a mid-size anymore. It was now called a full-size sedan. That was a mistake I made. It was basically, I meant to say mid-size sedan still, but then it became a full-size sedan. It got less popular. It came with a V6 that was very unreliable, and last but certainly not least, the car itself, it didn't do so well, and it got discontinued around, I do believe it came discontinued around 2010, 2011. So yeah, it was kind of unfortunate, but we probably will remember the Gallant as literally the Evo Zero. And that's about it for vehicle history. So yeah, I didn't realize how small the history of the Vanish was. I'm like, you know what? Forget it. We're just talking about the Galant. That's why the heck not. I was gonna switch cars actually. Oh, okay, I have enough to actually do something with the NSX. It's gonna take me just one wee bit second, which I hope actually had bought the bike kit for, because that's the last thing I needed. Last thing I needed is problems. Um, NSX. There we go. No, it's Rocket Bunny. Um. Okay, there we go. All right. I was like, wait, did I bought something for the car? Yes, I did. Oh yeah, let me replace that real quick. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, that kind of works, but still. Actually, on second thought. Yeah, that works. Okay. Alright, should be okay. This even though it's based on the NSX-R, but yeah. Yo, hey, welcome to the live stream. Alright, let's see. Up next, it will be the 350Z, and well, unlike the other cars, it doesn't sound. Unlike the other Z's that are in every other racing game that makes it sound like a trumpet. Apparently, it makes it sound like a full on F1 racer with a V6. Unless I could be wrong, because I haven't driven this car in a while. I know I say driven this car. It's just that I haven't driven it since the um, wide body thing. Okay, there you go. Alrighty then. 1:16. Oh, now it's 16 minutes. Oh, for the love of... Yeah, my iPad just died. God dang it. Nah. Oh my goodness. So yeah, oh god. I've actually bought the bike kit in the first place. Oh my god. My goodness. My god, I'm having steering issues. Oh my god. Yeah, in terms of uh, now this is gonna be a new thing I actually wanted to try, and for the most part, this is actually gonna be an interesting topic I have not done in years. So, yeah, car show talk. Basically a thing where thing I like to talk about certain vehicles that are more likely capable of as a car can even be in a car show without any problems. Although yes, there'll be some judgmental person. Um, so more likely, the vehicle will be the vehicle will be picked by you guys. Yes, you guys, the audience, for the most part. So not for the most part, but basically, yeah, it's your choice on the vehicle. Not with that you guys chose for me. I would have picked it and choose the parts for said car, and and more likely, um, and before you guys ask, no, I will not customize said car in the game since uh since the majority of you guys probably will be like, probably like just grab something that's in game and then just customize it the way it is. Um, yeah, there's basically that. So I'll I will bring up a premise on the vehicle, and yeah, basically bring up the vehicle along with the premise on said vehicle, and I'll just pretend to be the buyer of said vehicle, and basically just like talk about like, okay, this is gonna go into the vehicle, and yeah, it's basically that. Is that a BRZ? Oh no, it's not. It's not BRZ. It's a GTR. Oh gee, sorry. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Hi, hey, welcome to the live stream. Let's go. There's no code. Just look up the actual. Just look at the actual lobby. I know you don't use codes because, like, the moment I put the code on and I come back to said lobby, I had to make another one and I had to put in a different code. It's a bit of a hassle. It's basically what it is. Oh god. And also, for those that are wondering, please be sure you're in an American server. I always want to be able to actually find the lobby. Wait, did G-Town went this way or it went to the other direction? Oh my god. This is switching right now. Ah, dang, dude. That's okay. Yeah, that's probably the downside of actually like, oh, yeah, what's the code? Like, oh yeah, yeah. Basically, um, it's basically it's supposed to, yeah. Don't worry, this kind of thing happens sometimes where they're like, oh yeah, I can actually just join in, and all of a sudden, crap, got the PlayStation Plus expires. Oh my goodness. In fact, that's probably the only downside of actually. That's okay. Basically, long story short, I'm like, man, I can't believe, and I'm glad they're having the new PlayStation Plus thing now. But the thing about it is that it is now 120 grand, not grand, $120 for the premium subscription, since it costs 60 for a year, and it costs 60 for PlayStation Now. So yeah, I do kind of think it actually kind of makes sense. Hopefully it kind of makes hopefully it kind of makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense, because I had no clue. Oh, I was about to say, Mandela Sam still there? My goodness. Sad. Yeah, it is kind of sad for the most part. But don't worry, there's always another time where you can actually join in, go into place. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh god, day 4! My goodness. Is that gonna do donuts all day? I actually meant to change cars again. I'll be right back. But okay, so unfortunately the FC, the S13, the R31, and 246 don't count. No, I would say the brand van doesn't count, but I just don't. Then again, I do believe this one's the 93. Either 93 or not, really just 1980 model. Chaser, on the other hand, actually counts, since that's the 2000s car. That's gonna make my own vid. Oh, okay. Now, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So, in terms of the news, terms of the car show talk, basically the idea is I want you guys, you the audience, as well as people that are commenting, leaving comments in the chat room, and again, people in the chat room, you guys would probably pick the car for me, and I will legit vision this car, and basically I would tend to be just the buyer of said car, and I'll probably will have a premise on said how the car is given. So this will happen in around 2 minutes. So for Lamborghini, it's your choice, but I'm just picking cars because of the theme, of course. Oh god. Jesus. Okay. Now, don't just give me like the perfect car. You have to give me a car that has a pro and a con with the vehicle. And before you guys say anything, no, having an automatic transmission does not count. Like, it has to be like something major, such as the vehicle having engine problems, or engine having, or the car having electronic problems. And basically, it's basically not like just the blind, not blind, the person that is basically going into this blind. Like, I have like no experience of buying said vehicle, so yeah. But yeah, it's time to start the car show talk. So, without any further ado, to the Royal. Well, the thing is, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about the cars in game. I'm like talking about the cars that is usually what's that called? Basically, cars that you probably would see in a regular dealership. So in terms of the Royal, okay. Alright. So alright, here's the premise. So long story short, I ended up having a importer import a 2000. Oh, see, no, actually, that doesn't make any sense. I just realized, I was like, wait, it makes no sense at all since the Royal came around the 2000s. Oh dear God, it has to be real life cars too, guys. Like, don't just have a just be like, oh yeah, you have like this car here. It's like, okay. Oh, like the Royal came like around. I think that model came around around 2000s, but dear God. What the heck? I forgot there's a nest right next to my house. Hold on. Be right back. Alright, there we go. Hope you guys can hear me. Give me a moment. Testing. Oh, jeez, not again. Testing. Okay, there we go. Alright. Okay, yeah, well, you know what? I was gonna pick the car myself, so. Alright, so. So here's the premise of this first one. So, I'm a high school student, just going to college soon, and I just recently got my license. And I ended up having to go with my grandfather as well as my brother to pick out a vehicle for me. My grandpa wanted me to get a nice 1960s car, while my brother wanted me to have something reliable. But me on the other hand, I'm that one high school kid that actually wanted a rear-wheel drive car for my first car. But then the reminder of your mother would be like, no, you cannot get something that is rear-wheel drive. What happens when it's raining? What happens when you're trying to do all kinds of hooligan stuff? It's like, alright, fine, I'll get something that's at least meet my needs. And you find something interesting. Something that resembles a coupe, but it's but it has a giant H on the hood, and and looks reliable. But then your grandpa's like, no, no, no. We're gonna get something that is full on pure muscle. And you went to another dealership, which is all for classic cars. And you found and apparently they found a Nissan 240Z. And it had over 2,000 miles. It had the only problem it has is the fact that not only the paint is rusted, not only the bike mark is rusted through, but it actually has, well, it's basically a shell. So basically, we went back to the dealership, and we ended up buying a 1994 Honda Civic Si, and to be more specific, this is the coupe. This is the EJ2 coupe, and so they got the car, and we ended up buying a Honda for around $1,500, and basically the fact that I have saved a lot of money for my weekend job, I ended up buying a whole lot of stuff for the car. Things such as suspension, such as BC coilovers, some Inkei RPO3s, and along with that, a what's that called? A Pandem Y body kit that's normally for a EG hatch, but apparently it fits the coupe as well. And bought a giant turbo off of eBay, and this also came around $7,500 to at least $10,000. So what was the problem with the Honda Civic DX? Well, unfortunately, even though yes, it's a manual, it only had around 4 gears. The 5th gear was blown due to the fact that the previous owner actually drove the car pretty hard for what it was. And then after that, decides to actually install everything that he bought with the money he saved, and unfortunately I couldn't get the job done, so I have a professional to do it, even though it would cost me extra. And then once the car is done, once the car is done, I end up driving home and told my brother and my grandpa, look, this is my very new Civic, and they look in awe on how different a car looks, and only spend around $10,000. Spend around $10,000 from a graduation gift of getting his first car. After that, he ended up getting a YouTube channel, and basically he vlogged about everything about his Honda Civic. He went to car shows, he went to car meets, he went to a track day, and even drag raced his track car. But unfortunately, due to the fact that there was also one problem, it's that stinking 5th gear that doesn't even bother to work. And so And so I decided to actually buy a 5-speed manual gearbox from a different chassis Civic. The and ended up buying a EK, basically a EM1 SI transmission, which usually came with a 5-speed. And due to the fact the 5-speed on the 5-speed on the SI doesn't work, it actually fits perfectly. In fact, it fits too perfectly. What's I saying? Oh yeah. And basically end up finally installing the SI transmission from the EM1 SI into an EJ2 SI Civic. And that car lasted as much as everything else. Unfortunately, due to the fact that the person was on their phone, the car got into an accident, and by accident, I meant the car actually got T-boned, and the car was wrecked. It was $10,000 down the drain, and it was total beyond repair. And I was lucky to actually survive around that time. And before you guys ask, no, this is not a real life story. This is actually me just being in my imagination. So, yeah. Before you guys ask, no, this is not a real story. This is a story I actually made up. And so, unfortunately, the good thing is that the insurance actually covered what actually happened. And turns out it wasn't your fault, it was the person that was on their phone's fault. And in terms of how many car shows that car actually was in, that car would have been in, I know, I'm joking when I say this, 5 different car shows all over the country. And keep in mind, this will take place in LA. So, yeah, it would have been the LA Auto Show, it would have been Sense Wars Las Vegas, it would have been Wackfest San Jose, and even Tuna Revolution Charlotte, Massachusetts. So, yeah, that's basically it. So, unfortunately, due to the fact that the car itself got totaled, the insurance claim actually gave me more than $15,000 for me to replace the Civic with something else. And you remember that your grandpa wanted you to get something old school, something that is not as American but it's also not as Japanese. So he ended up going to the classic car dealership, and you decide to buy a Nissan 240Z for $5,000. Even though it was a lot more expensive than your average Civic, the 240Z was perfect. The car was rear-wheel drive. It was basically an engine-less car. And even though, yes, the car is on wheels and has seats and everything, you decide to look up some parts that you want to do, versus having to do with the things yourself. And you looked up on YouTube and watched Chris Fix videos. Oh my god. But yeah, I ended up getting And yeah, the 240Z, it may not be perfect, but once you have the vision of what you can do to the car, you know the car is going to be your favorite car in your entire life. So the first thing you thought of is actually the car needs a new engine, and knowing how Scar's L24 engines are, you end up having to do the old-fashioned way and just look up on eBay. And you found something that you didn't expect. You found a 2JZ, not 2JZ. Nah, we're not going with a 2JZ swap. Excuse me. The car that you end up going with, the engine you end up going with is an RB26 DETT from a Skyline R33 GTR. The car itself was okay. I might need to switch cars because apparently doesn't realize that the vehicle I'm in is actually black, white, and gold. Who in the world freaking missed the fact that the car is gold? um, but yeah, ended up buying an RB26 DETT along with some parts from Greddy, HKS, Fortunato, even, and I kid you not, even the likes of, um, what's that called? Even some parts from ZG, and even some work wheels, along with some, to our RAARs, and end up find it. Oh God! Don't tell me they're gonna try to. I'm about to get kicked out of my. I don't know if I'm gonna get kicked out of my own lobby. It's called a kaiju. I know that. What the? My guy. That's what that was. You then the car. I tried that already, actually. No, what was I saying? Oh yeah, basically the 240Z. You notice the 240ZG doesn't have the 240ZG. My bad. The 240Z actually was missing plenty of parts. Even though, and yes, it's missing a fender as well as a not just a fender, but also is missing a couple of lights, windshield, and some doors. And then you put two together. This car was a salvage title, and when it comes to salvage title cars, they usually don't sell that much. So you end up figuring out why the car cost $5,000 in the first place, and it's because of the popular supply and demand, and you end up buying the vehicle impulse. My goodness. What was I saying? Oh yeah, basically, basically you end up mounting the tires, you mount the wheels, and you're wondering, okay, does this car have at least some sort of bike that I can actually put on the vehicle? And though yes, it does, it's not gonna last long. And oh yeah, actually, let me change something about the about 240ZG. It's not a 240ZG. This will be a 280ZX. The 280ZX being the stepchild to the 240Z. And though the L28 didn't, the L28 was so scarce to the point where it's very hard to find, putting an RV would mean that this will be the only, not the only, but I think the first ever 240ZG, not 240ZG, the 280ZX in the entirety of the state that actually has an RB. And then you figure out, wait, since this car is a RB26, let's see if I can actually find how to actually make the car sound like Brian's Skyline from Too Fast and Furious. So you end up finding a lot more parts, but unfortunately, due to the fact that the car itself actually has the parts of it are long been discontinued, it's to the point where it actually has many as many parts that you have to deal with. So yeah, going with two out everything, which no choice is. The car has been single turbo conversion, and ended up having instead of a T51R, it had a street evolution to HKS turbo. Along with that, it had Workmeister S1 3 pieces, wrapped around in R888 tires from Toyo, and even parts from Rotorua, which was no, it's a car company around around the 2000s that make really good brakes. Oh my god. What the? Oh my god, dude, this is. Oh my god. This is not a. Like, I was about to say, like, dude, this is not Tron. What the heck is wrong with you? For those that are playing this game for the first time, don't do what this guy did and put color smoke. The only time you put color smoke if it's themed behind something. Don't just paint everything else the same color just because. What's up? Oh yeah, so basically, you found a bunch of parts for a 280ZX, and it actually fits. But the only thing that does not fit was one of the doors, specifically the passenger door. And the only reason is because it was for a different year of. Oh, look at this. Sorry about that. Now, what was I say? Oh yeah. So the 280ZG, the 280ZX you ended up buying was a 79, but the one that the person gave you was a 1983 model, which, for those wondering, although it is the same part, there are many different things that will happen if you have a different year of part entirely. So you end up calling a different person for a 280ZX door for a 1979 model, and they had that door, and you ended up buying it. And well, long story short, got the doors. You painted the entirety of the car Millennium Jade, which is a color that you usually see in Nissan Skylines. Along with that, you dubbed the 280ZX's name the RBZ. Basically, a RB26 powered Nissan 280ZX that made around 500 horsepower with literally 695 foot-pounds of torque. So it's a quick boy. That's basically what it is. And you might be thinking, 500 horsepower isn't enough these days. Well, we're talking about a person that actually just is trying to have his own fun with the vehicle. But then there's also another problem. The transmission was a little bit on the really worn out side. So So decided to call the company that actually has Nissan 350Z transmissions and decided to mount it from there. And keep in mind the car is still rear-wheel drive and has not been converted yet. So there's that. Even though it was a really tight fit, the 350Z transmission actually works with an RB26. My goodness. Now, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the car itself was almost completed. All I needed is a Douglas spoiler, a Douglas spoiler, fender flares, and some fender mirrors, along with the louvers for the back window. And then we get all that stuff sorted, and now you end up getting the vehicle is completed. The RBZ, a RB26 power 280ZX that is modernized to the point where you believe that it is a resto mod. And you end up getting the car registered. And the car is already registered. It's just the fact that the car itself is now a rebuild title. It's no longer salvaged. And you end up taking it to more car shows. And basically, sponsors were going in left and right. You were getting sponsors by Film Industries, you're getting sponsored by eBay Motors, you're getting sponsored by Auto Tempest even. Like, you're getting sponsors full on left and right. And as long as it's for, and basically it's making you money for some reason, which you didn't realize that it can actually work out as much. And you had the car the car was owned for more than 5 years, and decided to actually, marry someone, have a kid, and you need something different. Which, you're keeping the 240Z, not 240Z, the 280ZX, but you need something that can actually haul you and the family on the go. So, you ended up buying a Scion XB. Which, keep in mind, for those who do not know, it is basically, in Japan, it was known as the Toyota BB. The Scion XB wasn't just any Scion XB. The Scion XB was the 2005 model, meaning that even though it looks tiny, it's freaking huge underneath. Like, we're talking, you may be 6'4" and you're still able to fit in the car pretty comfortably. Yeah, that's basically how that works. Yeah, the car itself may be a very interesting thing to go for, but due to the fact that the Scion XB is a very, very good way to actually have another car in your belt for car shows. So I decided to do some sell things, like a body kit, and bags, and wheels. That's about it. And he ended up getting the car rat in a very interesting pearl. It was a satin black with gold and red flake. And yeah, that's basically about it. That's basically car show talk. That's basically how that works. Anyways, that'll be it for today's topics. I'm about to switch cars anyway. I've been that royal for God knows how long. My goodness. Now, in terms of the rest of the vehicles, um, because so far we're still in class 3, and we done class 2, we done the majority of class 3. Um, so it's basically these two left class 3. Class 4 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 of these are left. So I think the last vehicle gonna be drifting around today is the Evo 10, not Evo 10, the Evo 9. So yeah, I apologize if you guys couldn't hear me before. Um, so here's that. And also what do you guys think of the new car show talk idea? Basically, it is me just going through, not going through. Basically, you guys picked the car. I ended up visualizing how they how you get that car, and then a tragedy happens, and then you end up buying a different vehicle. But keep in mind, I did with 3 vehicles, and I'm already losing my voice. I need water. Oh god. I'm actually digging this bike in. That's not that bad. My god. Oh jeez. Oh my god. Oh god. Okay. We're good. We're good. Oh jeez. Why in the world are you drifting the other direction? Oh my god. Okay. Like, okay, so basically, long story short, oh god, this is gonna be like the last vehicle before I have to end the live stream. I will continue on with the 2000s cars next Monday. So uh, there's that. Even though still have to continue on with the wide body stuff. I do believe that the 2000s cars may be a little bit more important due to the fact that it's basically the history of the cars that appeared around that time. So there's that. Good car for you. Normally, when it comes to the steering wheel assist, and yeah, let's just say it is a little bit difficult to control the car without having a lot of problems with it. goodness. Alright, I think that's gonna be it for me from here. Um, it was pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie, it was actually pretty fun. Um, Now in terms of the vehicles that are left for me to actually go for, basically the cars that are left in around the 2000s theme. Probably would do that do another time. So it is the R34 GTR, the Mazda RX-7, BMW M3 E92, Dodge Challenger SRT8 from 2008, Mitsubishi Evo 10, CLK 500, the WRX STI from 2008, Nissan Stagia, Honda NSX Type R, uh, not NSX Type R, NSX-R, my bad, the Skyline ER34, Chevrolet Corvette. I'm going to make a video. Okay, so yeah, Spark ZR. Yeah, Chevrolet Corvette from 2004, Dodge Viper, uh, Silvia S15, Toyota Mark II, Nissan GTR, Nissan 370Z, Audi R8, and last but certainly not least, BMW M5. So literally, the M5 is going to be the last vehicle before I do anything else. Anyway, without any further ado, hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. Leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what you want to see next. You can follow me on Instagram at Goddrifter247sun Productions. You can follow me on Twitter at G247s. And last but certainly not least, you can check out and join my Discord at Goddrifter247sun Productions Garage Museum. Anyway, without any further ado, hope you guys have a dope Monday. This is Goddrifter signing off, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.